So Yard Board asked me to put on a demonstration on how to build some LEDs. I'm not going to be able to be there, so I'm going to make a little video. If you go to rapidled.com, you order the premium 12 LED kit. It comes in a box like this. In this kit, I ordered 80-degree black lenses. And I chose the premium kit because the premium kit has XRE LEDs. All of them are XREs, which means these lenses will fit them all. Because in my opinion, you can't really have, with the height of these lenses, you can't have one without, one with, one without, one with. So either you got to go with all lenses or all no lenses. In this case, I wanted to build a bar with lenses, so I went with the XREs. And not only that, XPGs can run at the 1050 milliamps, but the XREs should really only run at the 700. And you could probably run the whites on a little higher amperage, but the blues aren't recommended to go above 700. This is a fixed amp, mean well driver. No, not dimmable. We hook it up, turn it on, it is what it is. I chose, when you order, if you go to the website, and that's rapidled.com, and you choose the 12 LED premium kit, there's a place for you to make notes, and you tell them what lenses you want. I told them I wanted black 80 degree, and I told them I wanted 8 blue and 4 white. I'm trying to create like a 20K appearance to take the place of some of these T5s. You know, I run lights 12 hours a day, and if I can get away with these LEDs running most of that time, then that's what I'm going to try to do. Anyway, I'm going to build a light bar cut. So I went to the hardware store. In my case, it's Hall's Ace Hardware. I guess any Ace Hardware will have this stuff. This is a 3/4 by 16th channel. Cost $10. This little sticker right here shows you what it is. 3/4 by 16th by 72. They didn't have a 4-foot in this width, so I wanted the width for the extra area. So I cut it to 4 foot. You know, it depends on your canopy size or whatever. And I bought a number 43 drill that's rated for the 440 screw. Or it's actually not a screw, it's called a machine screw, but it's actually a bolt. It's a straight threaded bolt. I bought nylon bolts. So there's the tap, and here's the tap. So I already drilled the holes. I didn't want to bore you with all that, but I just wanted to show you how I tap these. I got a substance called Tap Magic in my little thing over here, and then I just run the tap in the hole. The Tap Magic is magic. I just wanted to demonstrate how easy it is to tap these holes. I mean, you could sit there by hand and do this, but I like to do it with the drill. And I put the clutch on number 1, so that it's the weakest setting. If it did happen to bump up, it would. So I already did the other holes, and there you go. Okay. So here's the 440 nylon screw I got from the Ace Hardware. I'm impatient. They cost 30 cents at Ace Hardware, but you can get 50 for $2.50 on the internet. But I wasn't patient enough to order those. I'd recommend you do so. So I drilled and tapped. These crees have a 3/4 inch spacing, which means, you know, between bolt hole to bolt hole is 3/4 of an inch, 0.75. You know, you can measure that once you get it. Just measure from hole to hole. I already did that. I laid that out. I'll show you how I tap them with the drill. It's really easy. I did this in about 5 minutes. You can see the holes line up. and not a pro or nothing. This is my second little do it yourself, but I would put one screw in these. I would tighten that down to snug it to hold this in place, and I would do them all, and then I would come back and solder them before I put the thermal adhesive in. I already pre-cut these, and the kit comes with some. They're black, they're a little bit bigger wire. It's not really necessary, you know. I looked up on the chart, this wire right here in an open environment like this can handle 3 or 4 amps. We're talking 700, we're talking 0.7 amps here, so they give you a little bit of wire, but it's a little short and it's a little heavy, and it's just heavier is harder to solder. So I cut my own wires, and I did that by laying these out on the thing and then placing this from here to here, and then I counted how many I needed. I went ahead and pre-cut those, and in a minute I'm going to show you how to solder them. So like I stated before, I'm going to screw all these down. I said I got 8 royal blues, I got 4 cool whites, trying to get more of a 20K bar here, just playing around a little bit. So I went blue, white, blue, blue, white, blue, blue, white, blue, blue, white, blue. Okay, you can tell the difference by looking down on the lens. The white ones have a yellow tint to them. So I'm screwing the LEDs down. Right now I'm preparing them to solder. The XPEs are nice. They're pre-tinned, which means they have a little blob of solder already on the tabs. The XPGs didn't have that. The ones that I did, I had to put that blob of solder on. So, which we probably won't go over that, but if you had a LED without that shiny spot of solder on the copper connection point, you would have to apply that. Okay. One thing I wanted to cover about the LEDs, they have a positive and negative side. There's 2 positive points, actually 3, but one's in this, let's just call it 4. 2 positive, 2 negative. You can see the negative side on this, the positive side. That means these 2 pins are negative, these 2 pins are positive. This is a simple series circuit, which means we're going to put the positive starts here, the negatives here. Positive here, negative here, positive here, negative here, positive here, and so on. We're going to connect the positive wire from the mean well driver to the first positive. We're going to connect the negative to the positive, negative to the positive, negative to the positive. We're going to end up at a negative, and that's going to go to the negative on the mean well driver. It's as simple as that. Positive starts here, negative here for the mean well, negative positive, negative positive, negative positive. Simple series. Okay. Okay, one of the most important steps of this, and what separates the amateurs from the pros, is knowing how to do this step. I'm not saying I'm a pro or anything, I'm just saying I know this trick. I use this little clamp to hold the wires, but we're going to do what's called tinning. And it's basically just pre-soldering the ends of these wires, and they call it tinning. So I'm going to get these. I have this little clamp that I use. I mean, at work I have a nice little vise, but I'm limited on stuff here, so I'm going to arrange these in this clamp and then come back and show you how to tin these wires. We good? As you can see, I said I was going to put one screw in all the LEDs, got them laid out, and then I got my clamp. It's holding my wires. One of the most important things you can do with soldering, and I don't mean to oversimplify this, but some people just don't know, is if you don't have a sponge like this is wet. Get you a cotton rag, wet it real good, and keep your solder tip clean. That's one of the main things. People start to solder and they don't keep that clean. It starts to get this brown and a bunch of just crap and carbon buildup in it. So the main thing with soldering is keep it clean. My little deal has a sponge there. So like we talked about, we're going to tin these wires. This is a critical step. This is what separates. This is a trick of the trade, so to speak. So basically you just heat this wire up, and wait for it to take the solder. I don't know how well my wife's focused in, but you can see all of a sudden it decided to take the solder. It gets to a point where it's hot enough and it more or less wicks the solder. You can see that wire more absorbed, or wicked as we call it. You see I got a little excess. I'll come over here to my sponge, I'll get the excess off and clean that up. This is wire tinning. We're going to do the rest of them, then we're going to apply them to the LEDs. Okay.